Once again, welcome to Wolf Tumim Hall as we continue learning and singing with our scholar in residence, Shefa Gold. This weekend would not be possible without the incredible work of our adult education committee led by Ed Septimus and Steve Tamber. Thank you to both of them, as well as Lawrence Burnell, for chairing all of this weekend's events. We are especially grateful to Jay and Laura Tarnow for underwriting this weekend's Shabbaton. As we look ahead to Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, our formal preparation for these holidays begins tomorrow night with our Slichot service at 9 p.m. in the Gordon Chapel. From now until then, we will be experiencing sessions led by Rabbi Shefa Gold that will help us prepare spiritually for these most meaningful times. This evening, she will talk with us more about the role of spiritual practice as we prepare for next week. We will have some introductory sessions, which may be unfamiliar to many of us. We urge you to keep an open mind as we unlock together the many secrets of spiritual connection. Tomorrow's sessions will be devoted to teshuvah, returning and being transformed, tefillah, connecting in love, and culminating in our final session tomorrow evening, teshuvah, tefillah, and tzedakah, opening the way forward. These sessions all center on the meaningful liturgy found in our high holy days. We hope that this Shabbat will be filled with new beginnings, spirituality, and meaningful connections. Rabbi Gold.
Thank you. So everybody back there want to come and bring your food? So Shabbat Shalom. I'm hoping that this session I'm going to do some spiritual practice with you, and I'm hoping that you are coming with your questions and kind of willingness to go there with me. Okay. So a number of years ago, I was invited to be part of a think tank from the Institute for Jewish Spirituality that was called the Prayer as Practice Initiative. The Prayer as Practice Initiative. And what they were interested in was how do you transform Jewish American culture from one of going to services to one of doing a practice. They realized that prayer is a practice. And some people, some of the rabbis noticed that their congregations, some people had a yoga practice or a meditation practice, but when they came to the synagogue, they were just sitting there, kind of like an audience there, and they didn't realize that prayer is also a practice. And when something is a practice, it really has a different kind of requirements that are there that you need to come to. When something's a practice, you need sometimes to have a teacher. You're on a kind of trajectory of learning how to do it, and you're developing that practice over time. And so the think tank was really about saying, how do we transform this so that people come to prayer the way that they come to yoga or to meditation. And so this idea of prayer as practice really fit in really nicely with what my whole life has been about, which is to taking one phrase at a time and turning it into not just a song, but a practice. And a practice means that I'm a different person at the end of it than I was at the beginning. It's the meaning of it is that here is a means of transformation. Here's a means of deepening or opening up the inner dimensions of life. Does that resonate with you so far? So when I first went to rabbinical school, I was kind of overwhelmed by just how much there was to learn, and all of the liturgy and all of the commentaries and all of the texts, because it's kind of my nature to want to just go deep, to take just a little bit at a time, and instead of covering a lot, to go really deep with it. And so I began a project of taking one phrase at a time and bringing melody and harmony and rhythm and all the things I knew about music, of the way that music opens our hearts, to bring that to prayer and to take something on that was sort of dead on the page and bring it to life. So that was my project. And I felt like I'm never gonna run out of material here because there's so much there. And so what I do is when I find a text that intrigues me, I just start singing it and I turn it into a practice. So I wanted to do a couple practices with you as examples, really. And then you'll be able to sort of see the inheritance, what we've inherited from our ancestors are all these amazing treasures that could get unlocked as tools of transformation. So is it possible to close this door here anymore? What? They're working it? Okay. So I thought I would start with a chant that I was told that many of you know, that is the chant that's at Ozi v'zimrat. And I want to tell you a little bit about how I came to that and to bring it to you as a practice rather than a song. Okay? And that's that melody I was singing just before that says, Ozi v'zimrat. You know that? So many years ago, I was in Eretz Israel at Kibbutz Lotan in the Negev, and I was leading a festival for Tu B'Shvat, which happens to be on Shabbat Shira, the Shabbat of song. And it's called Shabbat Shira because there is a text that we read that is the song of the sea. And I looked into the text, and as a chanter, I'm always looking for, is there a phrase in there that is key, that is a mystery, that intrigues me in some way? And when I saw that phrase, I said, wow, this is like a formula. So it says Ozi, which means my strength, and the Zimaratiyah, which is the song of God. Vayihili, it will be, when I bring those two different things together, Vayihili Lishua, this will be my salvation. This is what will save me, really. And so I noticed that that those two qualities are kind of contrasting qualities inside me. So there's a part of me that is the Ozi, which is my strength, my will, my effort, my ability to get things done. That's my Ozi, the Ozi, my strength. My courage, yeah, all of that part of me. And then when I say the words v'zimaratiyah, there's a whole other part of me that I am opening to, which is what I think of as my ability to surrender to the force of God that is moving through me. So v'zimaratiyah is the song of God that sings me. And in order for God to sing me, I have to surrender. I have to allow, I have to let it flow. And I let go of my will, my strength, my courage, and I just let God do the work, really. So those are two parts of me. And when those two parts of me are in perfect balance, Vayihili, then I will have that Yeshua, which is that place of salvation. And so my work is threefold. I want to find my strength, and I also want to discover what it means to let God sing me, to surrender. And then the third thing is I want to bring those two qualities inside me into balance. Because there's some days where I have too much will, and some days when I'm surrendering too much and I don't have enough will at all. And so every day I want to wake up and say, where's my strength? And also, where is that ability to surrender, to open, to flow with life? Does that make sense to you so far? Yeah, those are two qualities inside you. And so when I'm singing, I'm not just talking about those qualities, I'm actually calling them forth. I'm letting my voice really express those qualities in me. So when I say, Ozi, try that. Ozi. Okay, anybody want to just take your hands and just feel your strength? Ozi. And then when I say Vizimaratiyah, it's a whole different quality of presence. And I say, Vizimaratiyah, Vizimaratiyah. And I feel that sense of surrender as I'm doing it. So I say, Ozi, Vizimaratiyah. And then I want to be able to feel both qualities at once, both my strength and my ability to surrender. Vayeli Lishua Ozi Vizimaratiyah. So at the end of the chant, I noticed that the chant is giving me access to my strength. It's connecting me to my strength. I get to express that strength inside me. And it's also giving me access to that ability to surrender, to open, to flow with life. And it becomes a kind of a diagnostic when I chant it, because there are some days when it's like a rebalancing practice, really, you know. So and then it kind of spread around the world like it's a song, but it's really a practice. And that practice of Ozi Vizimaratiyah, the text comes from the book of Exodus, just when we are going to leave Egypt and set off into the wilderness on a journey towards freedom. And what it says to me is that on that journey, I'm going to need those qualities. I'm going to need both all of my strength, and I'm also going to need to know when to open, surrender, and flow with life. So, does that... Any questions come up about that, of like how a phrase like that becomes a practice, really. Did you? Is that so? And so, every practice that I do is something that over time it just keeps developing, because every time I chant that chant, I'm going to find more strength, and I'm going to find more kind of access to that ability to surrender to what is, really. And when I chant, those 5 qualities that I mentioned in my talk today, that are intensity, novelty, focus, awareness, and repetition. So when each time the chant comes around, I get to sort of say, how intense can I be every time it comes around? Can I bring more intensity to it? It's novel, meaning it's as if I'm doing it for the first time. I'm focusing my attention on these words and the feelings in my body as I'm doing it. And I'm bringing awareness to how this practice is changing the quality of my presence. And then I need to repeat it lots of times. And that's what makes it different from a song, because when you do a song, you do it a few times and it's like you're done, right? But if you're doing a practice, you go beyond the place of your boredom, and you just keep doing it, because that's where the changes, that's where the rewiring of the brain happens, when you do it long enough. So I'm hoping this weekend we'll get to do some practices kind of long enough to feel its effect on our brains, on our hearts, on the quality of our presence. Yeah. So, yeah. Questions that come up to you about spiritual practice? Anything? I love questions. Anybody?
Give you a microphone instead so they can hear you. We've had a few people say they couldn't hear you so well. Actually, your love is over here.
Oh. Just have to hold it down. Okay. Yeah. That's because it's pulling me.
Let's just use that.
Okay. You want to take this off?
We'll use that instead.
Okay.
We can just leave that on.
No, we have to take it off.
Okay, just one moment.
Okay. So I use practices like this to grow my soul, really. To live a spiritual life, to be able to be someone, to come to a place of less triggering, more compassion, more love, because I'm going to need my strength, and I'm going to need to be able to surrender as well. And sometimes at the end of that practice, I'll do the practice, and then I'll feel both of those qualities in me and really try to bring them together. So, want to try another practice here? There's a psalm that is Psalm 23 that's kind of a journey, and it begins with the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want, and he makes me lie down in green pastures. And so there's some point in the psalm we're going through this valley of death, and we're journeying through that valley of death, and we come to kind of a clearing in the psalm, a place where there is a table set, and that table is set, and my tzorodai, my enemy, my demon, is sitting across from me at that table. So that's the setting. But in the middle of this cup, which represents my inner resources, And it's that cup is overflowing with exactly what I need in order to face the challenges of my life. And so the chant is a way of gaining access to those inner resources. And I'm going to ask, so there's 3 parts to the chant. But now we only have 2 mics, though. We'll share. So over here, what you're gonna sing. Kosi revaya, kosi revaya, kosi revaya, kosi revaya. And over on this side of the room, you're going to sing, kosi revaya, kosi revaya, kosi revaya, kosi revaya, kosi revaya, kosi revaya. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring these 2 parts together, and maybe I'll add a 3rd part if we got it going good, and we'll chant it. And what I'll ask you to do is to close your eyes and begin to feel the sense of that cup inside you, because it's like a magic incantation that has the power to open us to what's inside, because we're living on the outside of us so much, but there's a whole world inside that wants to be awakened, which is your connection to the divine, to your deep, infinite resource that you're going to need in your life, which we get cut off from it. And so these words are meant to help us reconnect with what's inside us. So as you chant, close your eyes, and when you're chanting out, but you're also chanting in to awaken those resources. So we'll start over here. Kosi revaya, kosi revaya, kosi revaya, kosi revaya, kosi, kosi revaya, 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 close your eyes. Bring your attention to the breath. Imagine that you're breathing into the heart. And inside the heart is an image of a cup. And use your imagination to see, what does that cup look like? What is it made out of? Everybody's cup is different. Just notice that cup inside your heart and breathe into the image of that cup. With each breath, that image gets a little clearer. The feeling of it inside you. And it's a cup that is always filled. So take a look inside that cup. Notice what that cup is made out of. And then look and see what's inside that cup. What do you imagine is inside that cup? And as you bring your attention to what's inside that cup, imagine just smelling it. See if it has a fragrance. And then lift the cup and take a sip of what's inside the cup. No matter how much you drink from that cup, it's always full. But it's hidden inside. So feel what it feels like to drink from that cup. Notice what it tastes like. And let it go all the way down and fill you with that inner treasure, an inner resource. And with each breath, take another great swallow of what's inside that cup. And if you lift the eyes of your heart and see who's sitting across from you at that table, who is your demon, your enemy, your challenge? What is it? And knowing that whatever is in that cup is going to give you exactly what you need to face that challenge. You might see a face, you might see a word, or a feeling. And you can come back to that cup again, take another sip. And just let yourself be filled with that. Kosirvaya. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. And I'll invite you to share with the people sitting near you, someone sitting next to you or around the table, to say, well, what did your cup look like? What was inside? Who sat across the table from you? And we'll take a few minutes just to share what that experience of your imagining is. Go talk among yourselves. So, so how was that for you? That was, part of spiritual practice is awakening the ability, your imagination. And Maimonides says that imagination is the beginning of prophecy. And the idea is that when you chant, you're getting the kind of cognitive mind out of the way, so that information from the soul can rise up and give you some kind of wisdom that you might be ignoring, you might not have access to. And so a lot of meditation really is about quieting the mind so that the soul can speak. And sometimes the soul speaks as if like the way a dream would speak to you. And so when you're chanting, it's like possible to have a waking dream. And that waking dream can give you kind of information and beauty and wisdom that you might be cut off from because you're thinking so much. And so it's like a deeper level of your being is suddenly being revealed to you. And we just chanted, for a little while, but it did, if you could notice, the energy kind of shifted, and it's possible, at the end of the chant, I always feel like that's the place that is so potent, like that sometimes I feel like at the end of the chant there's a doorway, and we could walk through that doorway into ourselves, into kind of that deeper dimension of our being, and find our love, our wisdom, and even be given, like what it is that we're ignoring, that we need to pay attention to. And so whenever I do that practice, I see something different each time. And but if I do that practice regularly, I begin to feel like, oh, I do have the resource in me to deal with what's in front of me. I don't have to just sort of look away from it. And I just wonder, did you have any surprise about your cup or about your demon here? Yeah. Well, I'm just pouring my intention into the voice. Yeah. Just that the way that I sing, it helps her to feel it. Yeah. But anybody want to share what was in your cup, or who was sitting across from you? Here. What's honeysuckles? Yeah. That was what is in your cup. Oh, great. Honeysuckles. Yeah, or the nectar from honeysuckles. Beautiful. And did anybody see who your challenge was, who your demon was? Yeah.
Oh, the to-do list.
Okay. Yeah. Anybody else have a surprise? Yeah.
Mine was a fountain, and so it just kept refeeding itself as it went into, and then it went into these beautiful kind of fertile valleys that were being watered by that cup.
And was there anybody sitting across from you? Do you have a?
It's more like a mountain. Valley.
Yeah. That's fun. Anybody else? Oh, you have a mic.
Well, my cup was like the colors in the clouds at sunset. Tonight I looked out at a beautiful sunset, and the clouds were so many colors, and that engaged me. And the breeze that comes up at sunset, that cools and inspires from the day. into the evening was what my cup contained.
And who was sitting across from you?
Who was sitting across from me was an embodiment of my stress and my distractions.
Yeah.
The things that knock me off my practice.
And so the idea is how do you connect those two things of like the way you deal with your stress maybe is, in the sunset, like it's right there, right? Jerry, do you want to?
So my cup was sort of prosaic, which was one of my wine cups at home, but it kept changing from metal to a ceramic, back and forth. And what was inside of it was, what got my mind going was wine, which is something actually I'm not drinking much anymore. And then on the other side, the opponent was anger, which has always been, or has been my opponent for a very, very long time.
Thank you. Anybody else want to share what was in your cup or who was sitting across from you? Yeah. Sometimes I'm surprised, who it is. Like, oh, you. Yeah.
It wasn't a person. It was my demons,
Yeah.
of which I have many, and they tend to like to visit me late at night. Yeah. So, if I've learned anything in these few years I've been on this planet, is how some way of at least not reacting to the way I feel. My life goes on the same. I don't try to get upset or angry or frustrated or act differently, because that's what I did when I was young. But as I've gotten a little more mature, so I see my demons.
And maybe you have more access to what's in your cup, which is your patience, your, perspective, your compassion. Yeah, yeah. So this practice of chant, which we're going to be doing through the weekend, is also kind of in the silence afterwards. There may be things that arise for you that you didn't even know were there. And that's the idea, is to, with every repetition of the chant, we're calming ourselves down, we're opening up our hearts, we're relaxing, and then it's possible to step into the silence where there are great treasures and wisdom and access to kind of the deeper levels of our being, right? So I think that's. I wanted to just end with a hallelujah together, because that's my favorite word, is hallelujah, and I'd like to ask everybody to stand up and come close together. So we can hallelujah together. And what I said in my, just come close. And what I said in my talk is that, this quality of rewiring, this, possibility of rewiring our brains is like entering into praise. Come a little closer. Come a little closer. You don't have to be in a circle. We can be in a shmush. Shmushing together. Shmushing together. Okay. So when I sing hallelujah, I'm just kind of allowing the goodness of life to pour through me. It's a way of saying this is how we bless the world. It's like we open up as a kind of a channel for all the goodness to pour into the world. So we'll end with this practice and hope to explore through the weekend the power of meditation as well. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
So take a moment, close your eyes, feel your feet on the ground, and sense this circle, this holy circle that we've created here. And if you want to just open your eyes and look around the circle and just give a nod of thanks to everybody here for creating this hallelujah together. And I look forward to practicing with you through the weekend. Good.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rabbi Gold. Yes, a round of applause. And friends, we are so grateful to be able to kick off this Adult Education Shabbaton. A special thanks again to Laura and Jay Tarnow, and to our Adult Education Committee, and to everybody who made this weekend possible. We're going to be continuing throughout the weekend with sessions tomorrow morning. Our minyan will begin at 8:30 in the Finger Boardroom, as well as online via Zoom. At 9:45, Rabbi Gold will be leading our Torah study. And then immediately after that, we go right into a lot more of what we experienced tonight. So if this was something that you said, ooh, I wasn't sure about this, but I'm going to give it a shot, and you liked it, come back for more. Come back for more. We have a lot more to do. We have a lot more to learn. And at 11 a.m. will be our next session in the morning, followed by lunch, followed by a little break. And you can stick around here at the temple. You can go home and come back. And then at 5 o'clock, we'll have our next session. And then we'll have a little dinner. And then you'll be able to continue. And at 7:30, we'll have our final session, preceding our oneg, our reception, havdalah, and then slichot services tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. So a lot to look forward to, and we really look forward to welcoming you on Sunday morning. Dr. Jay Tarnow and Rabbi Gold will be leading a session together on Sunday morning at 10:15 to help us understand how to become better parents and grandparents with our children, how some of this can help them and to help us too. So please join us throughout the weekend. Thank you again. Thank you to Larry Burnell for helping organize this weekend, and to our committee members, and to everybody for putting this weekend together. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Have a wonderful night.